All right, YouTube, we're back. All right, I'm putting up a clip today of Light Burley and I after our Chicago seminar. Light Burley was out here for the first time in Chicago, yeah, and I will tell you, we're having him back out here again. Off the bat, first and foremost, what a great guy. He is a new friend. He's a new martial arts brother, and I strongly urge you that if you have an opportunity to work with him, or if you have an opportunity to have him out to your school, that you do so. Amazing skill and an amazing guy, and I can't speak highly enough about him. That said, what a great day for having my misconceptions blown away. You know, I thought, having no experience with Light Burley, that I thought that he was going to be a boxer, and he was going to come out, and he was going to show us some boxing skill. And, you know, I was looking forward to seeing, you know, his interpretation of boxing. I'll say this, he's not a boxer, he's a fighter. And I was extremely impressed with what he had to bring to you know, our school. And we had Wing Chun guys, we had MMA people, we had law enforcement personnel, and I'm gonna tell you, so far all of them were blown out of the water. Light and I did not really do that much exchanging because it was a 52 block seminar. So I want to preface the following video that's coming up. I asked a question, and I'm going to have you watch the question. And afterwards, watching the video, I don't want you thinking that I'm making that, and on my end, that I'm saying that, well, my Wing Chun is inferior to X, Y, and Z. It was a 52 block seminar, and based on what my ability was with the exchanges I had with Light, I saw where holes were in my game. So I asked a question, how Light felt that I can improve my game, and I wanted his honest answers based from his viewpoint, his eyes. After the video was filmed, after the seminar was over, you know, just like I felt, you know, I was ignorant to 52 blocks. I was ignorant to Light Burley. I was ignorant to his boxing style. I had questions. I felt that just like so many people have a bad taste of what Wing Chun really is, I think that Light's viewpoint for the people that he's seen in Wing Chun come by him, that they have not impressed him. I wanted to give him a chance to see what my Wing Chun was like. So we touched hands afterwards. I asked him to do a follow-up video. So for his feedback on what my Wing Chun is, I'm going to put the link to the bottom of you know, the video here, and I urge you to go so you can get his feedback, because I don't want to tell you what he told me. I want you to hear from his mouth. That said, you know, I can't say enough about it. Here's a guy who is, as far as teachers go, we were blown out of the water because we didn't know what to expect. And here this guy with this massive level of humility came in, unbelievably friendly and personable, and his skill did all the talking. And I'm not going to lie, we were impressed. We were absolutely impressed. And I think he's got something fantastic, something great. And again, if you have any opportunity to work with Light Burley, do so. Have him out to your school, get out to his, and we're going to be having him out here again. So this is the video between where I asked Light a question. I wanted to preface it because I know all the Wing Chun people are going to be, well, you're bashing Wing Chun in this. No, I'm not. I wanted an honest opinion from somebody who came from the outside, who was gracious enough to come to our school. I wanted him his true opinion on Wing Chun, where he thinks it can improve. And, you know, just doesn't mean I agree. You know, Light Burley is the master at his game. I will never be the master at his game. I'm the master of my game. But I wanted to know what the master at someone else's game sees holes so that we can improve our games. All right, so as always, thanks for joining our channel. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for all the comments and the feedback. We had a great time, and we're going to have more great people coming out in the future. And we'll see you on the next video, guys. Thanks. All right, YouTube, we are back. Dominick Izzo and Light Burley, and we just finished up a fantastic Chicago seminar with 52 blocks. Thank you for coming out here.
Man, thank you.
And we're going to have him out here again. So if you
back.
missed it, you guys have no idea what you missed. I asked Light to talk about Wing Chun as far as where he sees needs of improvement. Now, we talk about what Wing Chun is, and Wing Chun is that ending a fight in 2 seconds or less. And all right, I talk about all the time that 90% of the time you will not have this much space to fight. Okay, so let's take us out of that element. Now we have this much space to fight. And Light is not a typical boxer. I'm going to tell you from firsthand, I know where my game was weak as hell. And if it went past that 2-3 seconds, I'm in trouble. You got longer reach. You have better footwork as far as being able to mobility. We don't bounce around. We move in. We keep that static position until contact is made. But once contact is made, and his punches were not coming straight in. When they came in, they're tighter. So if I missed one that came in, and my fight did not do that job, now what? So I want Light to articulate what he felt was the game and where he sees improvement in Wing Chun, and where we go from there.
So as we engage, hands out. So this is the first thing I see. Is like when you fetal position. You know, when you're born, you're in this fetal position, and that's a place of strength. And hands up. So first thing you see is the hands are not up, and this to me gives me, this is my first thing I see. I see the elbow over here. I see this line is actually broken. So when I come in, even if I come in with a tap, I'm going to clear his arms quickly. So different from this, different from if he was the boxer and now I'm the Wing Chun man and he's coming at me. So what am I doing? I started from a boxing position. I didn't. So a lot of the positions that you start from gives the man what you're going to do. So if I, automatically you put him on this red alert. So, as the saying goes, when in Rome, do as the Romans. You hold your hands up like a boxer and spring your Wing Chun on him. So that's the first thing I see, that you've presented to me you're a Wing Chun man. And now I'm going to do everything to make your game fail, because you've told me what you've done, what you're going to do. Second point is that because their hands are straight, if I'm a boxer and I'm trying to get off that 1-2, his hands are in the way. So he doesn't even have to have good blocking. He can just flail your arms as I throw him, and he can take away my hands. So as a boxer, the one thing that makes a boxer very dangerous is they're adaptable with their punches. So if I'm throwing my punches and I see this and I can't get through, it's going to automatically tell me to hook. Or it may tell me to dig to the body. So right there, the holes that is shown from this traditional Wing Chun stance as to where you can be hit and the openings, the holes that you have. So, but of course, the Wing Chun man wants to make contact. You need to make this contact to get your game going. And I've seen, we've all seen a lot of the demonstration where it's like, you're taught to throw your hand out and this guy does 8 moves to your one outstretched arm. In real time, you're not going to have a lot of time to do that. So when he's going to connect to my jab, see how fast it comes back, and then at that, I'll jab again. So that's where I see holes with the Wing Chun, and me being a Wing Chun man too, a man that's practiced Wing Chun. The holes is that it's built on this straight line in, because you have this whole thing, protect center line, protect center line. And I think where people make that mistake is like, this is the center line they only see. But imagine that center line being 3-dimensional. That center line is over here too. That center line is over here. So if you're thinking about fighting a man, you can get to other parts of the center line without just this line. And what happens to Wing Chun people, they get caught up on this center line thing and it's like, and there's no angle. So even if I'm looking center line, I'm still attacking center line, but now I'm attacking it from this line, from the outside gate. And a lot of the Wing Chun men I've met, they haven't been able to adapt or turn to meet those type of punches quick enough to be effective. And so
the issue I had with him was definitely the movement, because there's nothing back up. So when Light stepped in with his straight punch, and then he threw that jab, or this, it's not that I can't get inside. So once I got inside, he wasn't here anymore. He kept moving back, and then we violate that whole not pursuing. There's smothering, but there's just too much room for me to deal with. So if my first hit doesn't work, I'm not going to do 2, 3, 10 because his footwork is too all over the place. So sticking with the individual, not the art, was a little bit more difficult. So again, too, it's a straight line. We don't do you punch and then throw a hook. That's not our game. That's not our game in our school. Our game was you punch and coming through, but he still was not here. So if this worked, great. But if he's much more proficient in movement and can dissipate my punch coming back, now my job becomes much more difficult. And that's why in our theory, we don't want to, what has been giving us in the Wing Chun, the world, a bad name is the whole, you punch again, punch again, punch again, punch. Oh my God, that's not, I'm telling you, with him, it's not going to work. My job solely is you punch, I got to punch.
Yes.
He moves the other leg, punch. I have to keep punching. But with his footwork, I found it increasingly hard to close the distance even after contact was made. So to be 100% honest, if I had to wind up dealing with him, it would be contact made, you back off, see you fucking later. Not dealing with it. So my 2 cents with Light Burley's skill is the footwork is fantastic. And his punches are not traditional as far as boxing goes. So I wanted him to explore our game and go, what could he see improvement in Wing Chun? And hopefully we do something right as far as not chasing those arms, but chasing you, which gives us a little bit more chance.
Yes, definitely. And then it's also like, I think you touched on the subject that, and I have met a lot of teachers, and it's like, my art, I'll get rid of you in 6 seconds. And it's like, well, what if I go 8 seconds? You know, so
That's exactly right.
There's really no predetermined time that the fight. You can't predetermine the time that the fight's on. That's universal. You know, maybe, you know, it could go for 10 minutes. You know, it could go for an hour. It could go for 30 seconds. So there's no predetermined time. So you need to take the time factor out of your mind. Like, oh, I'm gonna get him in 3 seconds. No, you know, I'm gonna get him. You know, and the time it takes, that's the time it takes. So that way your mind is more open to what's gonna happen. If you have a 3 second time on your mind, then you're just like, you rush in, 3 seconds is up, and now he's gone. And like, you know, I speak of that too. A lot of my 52 is that the 52 that I do is different from others as far as this is. No, you have to learn how to move the 52 around. And even if we were in a tighter space, now if we were in a tighter space, he was still, I'm still going to twist and turn. I'm still, like, I get a lot of that, well, what if you're in the phone booth? You still can move your feet. There's never no space unless they change your feet up or you're laying on the ground that your feet can't move. And that's true footwork, because when you're dealing with pressure, where's your biggest pressure from? Your connection to the ground.
I like that the best. And the best thing about his footwork is he didn't bounce around. He was in total control of his core. Which brings up one more question. When we wind up firing any punch or fighting, we are never putting our intent here. Our intent is to control this, control that elbow. Where is yours? What are you focusing on when you fire your weapons?
When my feet. And I think that's another thing that we can look at from Wing Chun. So let's look at this hand right here, and a little camera to the feet is that you get this. Now, that's a common Wing Chun strike. Now, that's a Wing Chun strike with a boxing leverage. So I think Wing Chun needs to adopt other things. So even when you come in with this should be, you know, even if it's not a punch, you should have that slap of, I weigh 155 pounds and I'm trying to make you feel it. And what you got from traditional Wing Chun men is that they think punches like this is going to end the fight. This man is adrenaline up. He's scared. He has a wife he's trying to make it back to. If you believe that one punch is going to take him out of his game, you haven't fought a lot. You know, so when you're fighting against adrenaline and the supercomputer. You know, so you want to make your shots meaningful. You know, Wing Chun shots in combat, the slaps, they don't have as much meaning as a left hook. So as what I do with my Wing Chun is I make my connection and I'm automatically trying to throw a real shot.
Now that does not limit, and I'm gonna tell you it didn't, that doesn't limit your mobility at all?
No.
We're not as proficient on our feet as you are. Our mobility to where that shot came there, we're staying and facing just so that if you move to my flank, I'm on this side, minimal movements. Yours did not. Your movement, you put all that torque and body weight into it, but you still had mobility. That's what I was impressed with.
And that becomes off the kickstand balance. We call that the kickstand balance, which is 1 foot up at all times. So if I have to move this way, the back foot is up. If you force me back, my front foot is up. If I have to chase you, my back foot is chasing. And this gives me an option. This gives me an option to disappear. This gives me an option to step off. And this is what starts to build that footwork, is that option of base of here. And then when I slip here, this hand is up. So if you're still coming at me you've walked right into the power of my left hook. Like I can swing it with all bad intention without falling in the pocket, which is a lot of what most people do because your feet are glued to the ground and they don't have that type of balance. So in 52, we use a kickstand balance. So our mobility is quick, but we have enough leverage to hit you with a good shot instead of just like an arm shot. And some of Wing Chun shots become just arm. And when you think of strength, strength is individual, you know. This is strength. Power would be my whole body does the work. So you want to look at power over strength. So that way, even if I get into a position where it's here and this Wing Chun man has hit me, I'm cranking him with something that's like, let's go hip for hip, please. If that's what you got, is just then this full leverage shot is going to hurt you. So that's where I would help add more to the Wing Chun to your Wing Chun game, or any Wing Chun game, or my Wing Chun game, is leverage punches, leverage strikes.
There was definitely all of that. His balance was fantastic, mobility was fantastic, and there was never a time where he was not in control of his whole core. And I think that's what impressed me the most, was there was in, out, all over, never not in control, never reaching for a punch.
Yes.
He was always in control the entire time. So that's what I took out of it the most, was your positioning was fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, we spend a lot, like I said, we spend a lot of time onto the moving around and putting it with the motion, so that it's not a standstill art. It's the shield on the move.
We loved it. Well, thanks for
I'll
having
be
me.
back.
Dude, we appreciate it. See you on the next video.